Welcome to the Pop Cult Pod, where we're crazy for film, television, and video games. I'm your cult leader, Tompott, and I just saw Alita Battle Angel. And out of that, I'm going to do the whole review like this.
I can see everything.
No, I've actually gone blind. I guess holding my eyes open and looking at a light bulb mightn't have been the best way to review a movie. Thank God these were conveniently nearby. Not because this was planned in any way. You can never plan to go blind.
I'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. There are watchers all over the city. Destroyed the girl called Alita.
Don't underestimate who I am.
Alita.
So if you don't listen to the podcasts, shame on you. Assuming I didn't knock the camera over in a random act of blindness. You should probably know that I had a bit of a back and forth with this movie. In the first episode I in jest said it was going to be the biggest flop of the year. And I heard positive word of mouth. I heard negative word of mouth. So all of that led to a bit of trepidation into seeing this movie. In fact, if I didn't do the podcasts or these videos, probably wouldn't have seen it, to be honest. All that said though, what did I think of the movie? I actually really, really liked it. I was surprised actually how much I liked it. It has its issues, quite obviously, but yeah, I was really shocked at how much I enjoyed it. It's not the most original sci-fi movie. It kind of feels like it's picking and taking from everywhere. But of course, that could be a case of maybe people took from the original manga, I don't know. That being said, maybe it's less obvious if you're not a sci-fi fan like I am. If you're not, you might enjoy it even more. The sci-fi elements overall, though, they're well blended, so it didn't bother me that much. It was still a world that was fun to spend time in, and it had clear logical rules, and nothing wrong with that. But I think we should probably talk about the elephant in the room, which is the CGI. I made fun of it in the thumbnail of this video. I made fun of it a minute ago. It's kind of taken away from the whole movie. A lot of people are distracted by it. Of course, Alita's eyes are massive. And I wouldn't be lying if I said, yeah, there's a bit of an uncanny valley feel to it. You really... there's times in the movie where you're just like, is that skin real? Are her teeth real? Is the hair real? Like, you really kind of overanalyze it a bit. And it's more noticeable, especially when she's in a scene where she interacts with a real human. And she does that quite a bit, obviously, which can be an issue. I actually found the hair to be the most distracting. I had to look up after this whether it was real hair or CG hair on set, because the way it hits the light and the way it moves just isn't. Now again, it should be said, she's going to move a bit more unnaturally because she's a cyborg, but it's a kind of a weird creative choice when they could have just really used a human with CGI, minor CGI enhancements. But, that was, just from a design perspective, it is a bit odd and a little bit distracting at times. But overall, you kind of forget about it when the movie is at its best. It's at the back of your head, which is positive. Now, I understand why they did the eyes. It's obviously, of course, because those are like manga eyes with their big, massive eyes. But when they changed so many other characters' counterparts in the manga, I don't see why they stuck with that. And as far as the CG goes in general, it's quite good. It does have a lot of kind of like you'll know everything is CGI. All the stuff looks unnatural, has got a shine to it, but it didn't bother me that much. It's kind of in fitting with the world where everything is kind of lights and chrome a lot of the time. Now, when Alita's interacting with CGI characters, it's not that bad. There's one scene in particular in a sewer where it looks quite good. Towards the end of the movie, there's everything. I mean, I can't imagine anyone is filming anything here. I think it must have just been all done on a computer, because it's lens flare and CGI everywhere. It's kind of... it is a bit distracting at that point. But overall, even when there was scenes with a lot of that, it was okay because it was well choreographed. It was very clear to tell what was going on, even in scenes that were chaotic with a lot of CG. Like, say, for example, a movie like Venom. Like, when there's so much CGI stuff, it's like, what is going on? It's well shot though in that regard, so it didn't bother me that much. One thing I will say that I really liked actually is that this film didn't feel restricted by its age rating. It was a PG-13 rating in America. There's still quite a bit of blood in it. People lose limbs, people get decapitated, but of course, some of them are robots, so there's a bit of leeway there. Alita even drops an F-bomb actually, which got a smile out of me. It definitely got me on her side. Looking at the cast in general, Rosa Salazar plays Alita. I feel like, at least initially, she was a little bit flat in her delivery. Now, again, the character's kind of trajectory is her discovering her humanity a bit, so that could have been done on purpose. In which case, fine. She definitely grows into the role a bit later on in the movie, so maybe that is just the case. Christoph Waltz is playing, a more sincere character here, and not someone sinister, which is nice for a change. And he was quite charming. He had some good lines, and it's just nice to see him kind of play against type with something like this. And he definitely has good chemistry with Alita, which is nice to see. I don't know if you want to call them villains. Mahershala Ali and Jennifer Connelly. They're not given a lot to do, but they're quite good in the scenes there. Mahershala Ali kind of, he plays it a little bit over the top, which is good. And he's got his costume design, his character is fantastic. His real kind of robe kind of form. It looks kind of modern and futuristic at the same time, because this movie obviously is set like 600 years in the future, or 500 years, 550 or something like that. Jennifer Connelly as well. Where's she been? she's fantastic. She looks great as well. She should be in a lot more films as far as I'm concerned, because she is good in this. She does have a few scenes where she gets to show her range a bit, but overall, I felt like, in fact, maybe a lot of the characters in this are a little bit underutilized, and I think that comes down to the plot, which we'll come to in a minute. Who else is in it? Ed Skrein, who was the British bad guy in Deadpool. He's a British robot. Some range there, Ed. I did nearly burst out laughing when I saw his character. He's like got a metal soul patch, so he's a bad guy. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Although I would say, like, speaking of like the robot design in general, I thought they were pretty forgettable, just not very memorable. Everyone's either got just a humanoid kind of chrome body, or like massive monstrous robot arms. And for a movie that's so focused on limbs and robot design, it's kind of disappointing how forgettable the look of it is. But it didn't take away from it too much. I think as I said, I was talking about the plot. I think has its issues, and I think that's what lost me the most in this movie, because there isn't much of a plot to it. Our basic plot is Alita is a cyborg who gets discovered in the scrapyard by Christoph Waltz's character, and she doesn't really know who she is. She's could be at least 300 years old, they say, and it's kind of a question of her trying to find out who she is and what she is. It feels like everyone actually knows who she is, but they just don't tell her. She doesn't even seem to care after a while. She just kind of forgets about it, and it kind of falls into the background, which I guess they were like, we can answer that in a sequel, because this is definitely going to perform and get a sequel, get a whole trilogy. Probably not, unfortunately. Kind of then takes over that we get a love story between her and a male lead, and I didn't think there was a great chemistry there between the two of them. Now, I will say I did like that the male lead wasn't just a goody-goody. He was not a good guy, which was a refreshing change of pace. But overall, it wasn't really an interesting love story. Now, I talked about how they were setting up stuff for future films. I think that's very noticeable after the fact. At the time, I would say it didn't really bug me, because I was just invested in the film. I was like, where is this going? But by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh, well, this didn't get resolved, and this didn't get resolved. And ending of this film really took me by surprise, actually. Like, it's not the worst case of setting up a universe. It's not like The Mummy or Amazing Spider-Man 2 in that regard. But as it comes to the close of the film, which shocked me, I didn't realise we were near the end of the film. I was looking on my watch a bit, but I thought there was more time in the movie. And I think it's the same, because a lot of people kind of were like, that's it. Because it does sort of just end like, this is what's going to happen next. And then it just ends. It's like, that's enough movie. You get more next time. And it's a letdown because it's a detriment to some of the characters in the movie, some of the plot. Like there is some pretty major actors that are just there for, I think, sequel bait, which is a shame. In fact, there's one cameo at the end of the movie. I'm not going to say who it is. I'll mention it on the podcast and spoilers, but where you're just like, what? Why is he like? I literally was just like, I was like that gif online of that guy just like blinking. I was shocked that he was in it, but I don't know. Despite all those issues, though, I gotta say, as disappointing as some of the elements are, that it's baiting for a sequel and a universe and all that, didn't take away from my larger interest in the movie. So overall, I have to say, it surprised me how much I actually liked it. There's some bland character designs, there's a few creative choices that I don't really agree with, or that didn't help the movie, certainly. And of course the plot is a bit meandering and stuff is unresolved. But I don't know, I got really sucked into this world. I thought the stuff that worked didn't work really well. The performances are good overall. The action scenes, especially the smaller ones, work very well. And it just kind of overwhelms you in a good way. You kind of get really sucked into this world and into some of these characters. I think it's a film that might appeal to some if you're just looking for something to watch. If you're a sci-fi fan, it might seem a bit familiar, but I still think you'll enjoy it because of all the stuff in it. It's a nice amalgamation of all that stuff. But yeah, I have to say, if you're looking for something to see in the cinema, you could do far worse. It's definitely something worth seeing. I was surprised with how much I liked Alita. Well, if you enjoyed this, you might also like my podcast, Pop Called Pod, which you can find on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Or you can check it out right here on YouTube. First 5 episodes are now on YouTube in a video format, including trailers, pictures, and more. Or, if you're not into podcasts or video podcasts, I do both, you can check out my review of the Lego Movie 2 in the link below. But whatever you do, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, and comment, because there's a hell of a lot more to come. So I will see you soon. Still blind. That could make reviewing movies and TV shows and video games a little bit difficult.